It had always been the kind of family gathering that people romanticized in photo albums and social media posts. Laughter-filled dinners, old stories passed around like heirlooms, the scent of spiced food hanging in the air like comfort itself. The large country house buzzed with noise, children running barefoot down the hallways, adults huddled in corners with wine glasses, music humming softly beneath the chatter. For a few fleeting days, it felt like everything was in place, like the messy knots of blended families had been untangled, and for once, everyone was simply happy. Among them was her stepbrother, a boy she'd grown up with since she was 11, the son of her mother's second husband, a quiet figure who never really let anyone too close but was always polite, always there, always doing just enough to seem reliable. She remembered him as the teenager who never got into fights, never raised his voice, never got caught up in the chaos of adolescence like she and her cousins did. He was careful, measured, the kind of person you assumed was trustworthy because he gave you no reason not to. On the last night of the reunion, when everyone had drunk too much wine and stayed up too late, the sleeping arrangements fell apart. A few air mattresses failed, some guests had arrived unexpectedly, and they were short on beds. After much debate and laughter, she offered to sleep in the living room behind the armchair, near the wide bay windows where the wind was already howling through the old trees outside. Her stepbrother took the couch beside her, and it all seemed harmless enough. She made herself a cocoon of blankets, plugged in her phone, which was nearly dead, and prepared to scroll herself to sleep. But the storm outside gathered strength, and within minutes, the house went dark. The lights flickered, then vanished. Her phone buzzed once and died. Total blackout. She lay in the dark, listening to the rain batter the roof, and then something shifted. A tension crept in with the silence. Her stepbrother, whom she assumed was asleep, suddenly stirred. She heard the faint buzz of his phone vibrating, and then his voice, low, urgent, nothing like the casual tone she was used to. He wasn't whispering like someone trying not to wake others. He was speaking in code, in a voice that was careful, but not cautious. It wasn't what he said at first that made her freeze, it was how he said it. The words came sharp and steady. No, he's getting paranoid. If he talks, we burn it all. Meet me at the tracks. Package drops tonight. She lay still, her breath catching. Maybe she misheard. Maybe he was playing a game, talking in riddles. But the longer she listened, the more the words painted a terrifying picture, one involving money, threats, people who needed to be dealt with, and coded references to events she vaguely recognized from local news reports, robberies, break-ins, a group that police hadn't yet identified. The realization hit her like cold water. Her stepbrother, the quiet one, the responsible one, was involved in something criminal, something dangerous. She tried not to breathe. Every sound felt like a betrayal. She shifted slightly, and the blanket rustled. She immediately regretted it. A pause followed on the other side of the couch. She heard him go silent. Then a long moment of nothing. Then his voice again, lower now, less certain. Wait, hold on. She closed her eyes, praying he was still on the call, praying he hadn't heard her. Her heart thundered in her ears, louder than the storm. Every muscle in her body locked into place, as if she were prey in the underbrush, hoping the predator hadn't noticed. What she felt in that moment was more than fear. It was betrayal. A cold, unfamiliar grief settled over her. This wasn't just about crime or danger. It was about trust. The kind of trust built silently over years of coexisting under the same roof, sharing meals, birthdays, graduation parties. It was the trust you gave someone because the world had labeled them family, even if not by blood. That trust shattered in an instant, replaced by a sickening awareness. She was now carrying a secret that could destroy him, and he might know it. She had no idea what he would do to protect that secret. Eventually, she heard him move. A quiet rustle, the sound of him putting his phone away. She dared not move until the first gray light of morning began to trickle through the window. When she finally sat up, wrapped in her blanket like armor, she saw him sitting on the edge of the couch, fully awake, his eyes locked on the television that hadn't worked all night. But he wasn't watching it. He was staring through it, thinking. calculating. His glance flicked toward her once, quickly, then away, as if measuring something. As if deciding something. Her stomach turned. She smiled automatically, the kind of smile you wear to convince people everything is normal, and he smiled back, just as false. The rest of the family had no idea. Breakfast was made, stories were told, plans were made to depart. No one noticed the tension beneath her smile, or the subtle stiffness in her stepbrother's posture. No one noticed how she barely spoke to him. No one noticed how she stood a little too long staring out the window, wondering what she should do, who she should tell, if she could tell anyone. Because the truth was dangerous. And the weight of it crushed her, even as she tried to act like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. The night had taken something intangible from her. Not just trust, not just safety, but the illusion that people are always what they appear to be. That family means safety. That silence is just peace, not a warning. Now, that silence screamed in her ears, louder than the storm, echoing long after the sky had cleared.